Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing super well. Today we're going to be talking about the disappearance of 21-year-old Lucero Sarabia. This case happened in San Antonio, Texas around Thanksgiving, and it's not a very well-known case. I know you guys are amazing and you're always so respectful and kind in the comment section down below, but sometimes we do get a little negative Nancy on this channel, and there's people on here that will blame the victim or leave rude comments towards the victim or towards their family, and I definitely want to avoid that on this video. I don't think it's ever right to blame the victim, and at this time I think the family just needs to read a lot of loving and supportive comments. At this time, Lucero's family is asking for the public's help in sharing her story and hopefully leading them to some answers. I want to thank you all so much for being here and for taking the time to listen to Lucero's story. Honestly, I want to thank you guys for submitting these cases. If it wasn't for you guys, I would literally never know about these very lesser known cases, and I think it's so important to share these cases and help them get the coverage that they deserve. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being so sweet, and if you guys are new to this channel, welcome, bienvenidos. I hope that you guys can join the familia by clicking the subscribe button down below. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Let's jump right into today's video. Lucero Ann Sarabia was born on October 3rd, 1983. She was born to her mother, Juanita Trevino, who was a nurse in El Paso, Texas. Which, side note, I was actually born in El Paso, so quick shout out to them. So Juanita was living there as a nurse when she ended up getting pregnant. Now at first, she didn't know what she was going to give birth to. She wasn't sure if it was going to be a baby girl or if it was going to be a baby boy, but as her pregnancy progressed, she had a gut feeling that she was going to give birth to a baby boy. When the time came and she gave birth to the baby in the hospital, she asked the staff if she could hold her newborn son. However, that's when the nurse told her that no, you actually didn't give birth to a baby boy. You gave birth to a precious little princess. Of course, Juanita was over the moon with the birth of her daughter, and she decided to name her Lucero, but she also gave her the nickname of Princess. What the nurse told her really stuck with her, and ever since then, everyone referred to Lucero as Princess. At school, she would even write Princess as her name. And one time the school called Juanita and told her that she needed to tell her daughter that Princess wasn't her actual name because that's all that she would write on her papers. Of course, as she started growing up, she knew that her real name wasn't Princess, but again, that's what everyone would call her. Family and friends of Lucero describe her as a very kind and loving person. She always thought of everybody, and she always tried to make everyone else happy before making herself happy. And the family was very close. Lucero has a younger sister named Amanda, and she also has a brother. So she was very close to her siblings and to her mother, Juanita. They say that they always kept in touch with each other no matter what they were doing. It was to the point where they would call each other 7 to 10 times a day just to catch up and see what everyone else was up to. So I wasn't able to find too much information about Lucero's childhood or about how her life was growing up. I did read that she was married and that she gave birth to 2 beautiful boys. So she had 2 sons, and she absolutely loved her family. She loved being a mother, and like I said, she always put everybody else before her, so her priority in life was to make sure that her boys were happy and that they felt loved. However, after 5 years of marriage, Lucero and her husband decided to separate. Lucero ended up moving in with her mother, with her 16-year-old sister Amanda, and with her 2 sons. However, she did remain in contact with her ex-husband. They still had a good relationship, they were civil with each other, and they were just doing their best to co-parent the 2 boys. Going back to live with her mother just felt right. This was a big change in Lucero's life, and she needed support. She needed to be around her family, and since she had such a close relationship with everyone was so excited to be living together and to be starting this new chapter in their lives. And this new chapter in Lucero's life definitely came with a big surprise. She ended up getting pregnant with her 3rd child and was due to give birth in January of 2005. Lucero didn't know the gender of her new baby, but she was really hoping that this time it would be a baby girl. I mean, she already had 2 sons, so I'm sure she was excited to finally get a girl and raise a daughter. She was just so happy about this pregnancy and was so excited to see her family grow. Even though she was going through a separation and, she just found out that she was pregnant with her 3rd child, Lucero was excited about life and couldn't wait to see what the future would bring her. She had a big heart and she was very friendly and trusting, which unfortunately is what her family believes led to her downfall. She was just too trusting. On November 25th, 2004, the family was getting ready to celebrate Thanksgiving. Lucero was in charge of making the family dinner and she was so excited to take on this task. I mean, this was her first year living with her mom and with her sister and, starting this new chapter of her life. So she was excited to be able to cook them dinner for the first time and to celebrate. She was going to be having dinner with her 2 sons, with her mother, and with the rest of the family. She was 8 months pregnant at this time. She was healthy and she was soon going to give birth to her new baby. So there was a lot to celebrate. When Juanita arrived home that afternoon, she saw that Lucero had prepared this beautiful dinner and everyone just sat down. They had this delicious food and they just celebrated life together. Once dinner ended, Lucero's sister Amanda called her and invited her to a party that her friend was hosting at the 300 block of Babcock Road. Now this party wasn't too far from the house and Lucero really wanted to go to spend time with her sister and, to just have some fun. So she got ready, she dropped her mother off at work and then drove over to the party to meet up with her sister. After some time at the party, Lucero got back inside her car and went to go pick her mother up from work. This was at around 10 p.m. that night and Juanita figured that they were just going to go home and call it a night. However, as they were driving home, Lucero told her mother that she wasn't ready to go home yet. She actually wanted to go back to the party to continue to have fun and be with her sister. Juanita wasn't too happy about this. She honestly just wanted Lucero to come home, go to bed, and get some rest. She was 8 months pregnant at this point and it was very late at night. So she didn't really feel too comfortable with her daughter doing this, but at the same time, Lucero is 21 years old, so she is an adult and she is able to make her own decisions.
I was hoping we would go home, but she said she wanted to go back and be with her sister for a little while. And I wasn't very comfortable about it. I was actually kind of upset because I wanted her to come home with the baby.
So Juanita told her, okay, you can go to this party, but as soon as the both of you are ready to come home, call me and I'll go pick you up. Then she drove her daughter back to the party, dropped her off, and then headed home. Several people saw Lucero at this party. They interacted with her and everyone said that everything seemed normal. She was having a really good time socializing with everyone and spending time with her sister. However, after some time, Amanda decided to go home. When she got home, Juanita asked her, "Where's your sister?" And that's when Amanda said that her sister had gone to the store with a man that she had met at the party and that she wasn't sure what time she was coming home. Juanita told Amanda to call Lucero and to ask her, where she was, who she was with, and if she needed a ride home. I mean, at this point, it was getting late, so Juanita just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. So Amanda calls Lucero and she picks up the phone and tells her family that she's still at the party. Her family told her, "Listen, you need to come home soon," and that's when Lucero said, "Okay, I'll go home. I'll tell him to take me home," referring to the man that she went to the store with. However, some time went by and Lucero was still not home. Juanita started to get worried. I mean, it was 2 o'clock in the morning at this point and she was supposed to go pick up her daughter. So she just wanted to know, what time she needed a ride or if she was gonna get a ride, what time she was coming home. I mean, if you're a mother, I feel like you can totally relate to this. Even if your daughter is a full-grown adult and she has her own children, you are still going to worry about your child, especially if they are living in your home. Juanita just wanted to make sure that her daughter was okay. So she picked up the phone and called her daughter one last time. Lucero answered the phone and told her mother that she had met a man at this party and that he had offered to take her home. However, as they were driving home, he actually decided to stop by his own apartment, which was at the Kingswood Manor Apartments, just a short drive from the party. Now she was just sitting outside of his apartment, waiting for him to take her home. Juanita listens to this and tells her daughter, "You need to come home already because it's getting late." And that's when she hears Lucero say, "Can you take me home?" And the man replied, "Yeah, I'll take you home." And then Lucero told her mom, "I'll be home in a bit." And then they hung up the phone and their conversation ended. A few hours later, Juanita woke up at around 7 a.m. and started getting ready for work. As she was doing this, she realized that her daughter was still not home. She called her daughter, but the call went straight to voicemail. And since she had to go to work, she woke up Amanda and told her to continue to call her sister until they could figure out where she was. Amanda called her sister over and over again, but each call went straight to voicemail. By 11 a.m., neither had heard from or seen Lucero. Juanita says that's when she knew that something was wrong and panic began to sink in. This wasn't like her daughter. She would never stay out all night long without calling anybody to let them know where she was or without checking in with the family. I mean, she had 2 boys at home and she was pregnant with her 3rd child, so there was no way that she would willingly disappear. Overall, Amanda and Juanita left over 28 voicemails for Lucero, and not once did they receive a phone call back. Now, the last place that Lucero was known to be at was at the Kingswood Manor apartments, and she was with a man that she had met at the party. So Juanita tried to track down this man and figure out who he was. And that's when she learned about what actually happened at this party. What Amanda said was true. Lucero did leave this party with this man to go to a store and buy some cigarettes. Now, I'm assuming that these cigarettes were for the man or they were for other people at the party, since she was pregnant and smoking is definitely a big no-no. The man that she went to the store with was a man named Richard Chavez, and I've read a couple of reports that state different things. Some reports state that this was the first time that Richard and Lucero had met. However, some other reports state that Lucero and Richard did know each other. Not well, but they did know each other and weren't complete strangers. Either way, they were hanging out at the party, they left to go buy some cigarettes, and then after some time, they headed back to the party. And this is when people say that an altercation occurred. A girl at the party accused Lucero of walking out of the bathroom with her husband. Lucero denied this and told the girl that she was lying, that she was never near her husband and that she didn't do this. However, the girl didn't believe her, and this led to an argument between the two. In the end, Lucero was asked to leave the party, and that's when Richard intervened and offered to give her a ride home. Lucero accepted the offer, the two left the party, got inside his car, and headed home. Now, this party was very close to Richard and to Lucero's home. All the locations were within a short distance from each other, so it shouldn't have taken Lucero more than 10 to 15 minutes to get home. But as we know from the phone call that Lucero had with her mom at 2 a.m., we know that Richard stopped by his apartment first before taking her home. And what happened after that is exactly what Juanita needed to figure out. Now that she knew who gave Lucero a ride home and where he lived, she decided to head over to the Kingswood Manor apartments and begin searching for answers. And when she got there, she actually ran into Richard. And this was her chance to confront him, to ask him about what happened to her daughter and if he had anything to do with her disappearance. So Juanita went right up to him and said, "I heard you were going to give her a ride. I heard you in the background." And that's when Richard replied saying, "I was going to, but then she got mad at me and she got out of the car and started walking home." He told her that he last saw Lucero walking near the corner of Callaghan and Ingram Road, and when Juanita asked him what time this was at, he said, "I don't know. I'm too wasted." And that was it. That was everything that Richard told Juanita about what happened to her daughter. And honestly, she had a bad feeling about this. She could just feel that he was lying to her and that he was hiding something. So that's when she called 911 and reported her daughter as missing. And she told police all about her suspicions of Richard. The following day, police went to go speak with Richard, and he told them the exact same thing he had told Juanita, that Lucero got mad at him, exited the car, and started walking home by herself. Richard told police that this happened at about 6 a.m. and that Lucero was mad because he had stopped at his apartment before taking her home. So that's why she decided to get out of the car and begin walking. And this walk wasn't too far from her house. It should have taken her about 10 minutes to get home. So what happened in those minutes? Juanita feels like Richard is hiding something and she doesn't believe what he's saying. She called police again to tell them about her suspicions, and a couple of days later, police went back to Richard's home to speak to him. However, to their surprise, he was gone. A couple of the neighbors spoke to police and told them that they had seen Richard rent a U-Haul, pack up all of his belongings, and leave, which I think is crazy. I'm telling you, when I read that, my jaw literally dropped to the floor because I cannot believe that this man packed up his belongings and moved within a couple of days. I mean, a pregnant woman was last seen at your apartment, and now that she's missing, you decide to pack up all of your belongings and just leave without helping the police find her, without helping give the family clues. I mean, to the police and the the family, it definitely seemed suspicious. Thankfully, police were able to go inside of his apartment to investigate, and that's when they ended up finding blood on the walls and blood on the carpet. However, it wasn't enough blood to indicate that a fatal injury had occurred. But at the end of the day, it was still blood. Why would you have Lucero's blood inside your apartment? So now, Richard is gone. He's no longer here to answer questions about Lucero's disappearance or to even help find her. Police put out a statement letting people know that they were looking for Richard Chavez and that he was wanted in connection with the disappearance of Lucero. They didn't put an arrest warrant out, and they didn't say that he was a suspect in her case. All they said is that they wanted to speak to him. They wanted to ask him more questions about what happened that night and see if there was any information he could provide them that could help locate Lucero. And unfortunately, an entire year would go by before police were finally able to locate Richard. It turns out that he was now living in Indianapolis, and he had actually been serving time in jail for an unrelated charge. He has some family in Indianapolis, and I believe he even opened up his own business for some time, and he was just living his life as if nothing had happened. And I'm not saying that he did have something to do with Lucero's disappearance. I'm not saying that he is guilty, but I definitely think that he is suspicious. He was literally the last person to have seen Lucero. He brought her back to his apartment and then claims that she just decided to walk home by herself. And on top of that, there was blood found in his apartment. So I just don't understand how police aren't able to do anything about it. To this day, Richard has never been formally named a suspect in Lucero's disappearance. However, Juanita believes that he is still lying. She believes that he knows more than he's telling her, and she doesn't understand how he's just free and, has never been arrested for anything. I just feel so bad for Lucero's family, and I can't even imagine how frustrated they must feel with Richard and with the police. So in the meantime, while police were still searching for Richard, the family had continued the search for Lucero. Family and friends turned a Dairy Queen located across the street from Richard's apartment into their search headquarters. Every day, the group would meet there to pick up more flyers and to talk about any updates in her case. People would go out to tape flyers inside of store windows, at gas stations, at intersections. Anywhere they could tape up a flyer, they did. Again, each location she went to that night was close to her house. So family and friends retraced her steps to see if they could find any clues and to also tape up flyers along the way. But they didn't find anything. Nothing that could indicate where Lucero went, what happened to her, or if she had actually walked home that night. The search group also planned to scour any creeks or streets in the area where she was last seen, and dozens of people helped in these searches, including police. Police were also helping, and they were searching in dumpsters for clues. They put Lucero's information into a national database, so if anyone in the United States ran her information, they would know that she was a missing person. They also checked nearby hospitals to see if a pregnant woman had come in, but nothing came back from that. And the police were pretty much stumped. How does a pregnant woman vanish? Surely someone would notice a pregnant woman walking by themselves in the middle of the night or, in distress or, needing help. So police don't really understand how she vanished, and it's just crazy that there are no clues, no evidence about Lucero or about her unborn baby. As the search continued, the family decided to hold a vigil at the Dairy Queen in honor of Lucero. They all wanted to get together to pray and to show support to one another. Everyone was having a very difficult time accepting reality. No one expected this to happen. You would never think that your family member would go missing, especially while they were 8 months pregnant and on Thanksgiving Day. All everyone wanted was to find Lucero and to make sure that she and her unborn baby were safe and healthy. So they had this vigil, and it was very beautiful and heartwarming. Family and friends formed a small circle where they were hugging one another and holding white candles in honor of Lucero. They prayed and prayed that Lucero would come home safely, but unfortunately, it has now been 18 years since Lucero was last seen, and she has still not been found. Every single year, the family always holds a vigil for Lucero with the hopes that this year will be the year that she is found. The family wears t-shirts with Lucero's photo on them that are the color yellow, which represents the symbol for a missing person. And they use this time for family and friends to share memories about Lucero and come together in support. Of course, this is a tradition that Juanita would gladly love to see come to an end, because then that would mean that her daughter was finally home and that everything was okay again. This year, the family actually launched a fundraiser fundraiser to help them raise money to offer as a reward for any information that could lead them to Lucero. All the funds made would be paid directly to Juanita, and as part of the fundraiser, they decided to make custom shirts for Lucero's 18th anniversary, and the goal was to reach $5,000. I wanted to make a purchase and buy one of the shirts to show support to Lucero's family, but the website says that the fundraiser is now closed. I'm not really sure how accurate that is because it also says that their goal has not been reached yet, so I'm not sure if that's a glitch in the website or if the family has put the fundraiser on pause for now, but I definitely want to show support to Lucero's family in any way that I can. So as soon as the fundraiser opens back up again, or if they decide to open a GoFundMe, or if they decide to do something else, I will definitely let you guys know about it. So if you also want to show support to the family, you can. I would definitely love to help them raise money for a private detective or for reward money, so I'll definitely look into that and I'll keep you guys posted. To this day, in November of 2022, Lucero Princess Sarabia has still not been found. The family has no closure, no answers, no justice. All they have is hope. Hope that this will be the year that someone finally calls and says, I know something. The family has never stopped looking and they will never stop until Lucero is found. At this point, Juanita feels so frustrated with the lack of attention to her daughter's disappearance. She just feels like nothing is happening. There's never any movement in the case, there aren't any suspects, there's just nothing. Juanita feels like her daughter's case has become a cold case and the police have received so many tips about what might have happened to Lucero, but they don't do anything about it. In 2016, the San Antonio Police Department said that cold case investigators were going to re-examine the evidence found in Lucero's disappearance and were hoping to generate more leads with the help of new technology advances in forensics. Juanita says that when she heard that statement, she was filled with so much joy and that it was the best news that she had heard in a while. However, nothing has come out of it yet. The family just doesn't understand how so many years have gone by and no new developments have been made. Amanda said, I can't say that the SAPD really did everything they could for my sister's case. Even now, we reach out to them with tips and I don't feel like they're doing anything, which really bothers me. Now, all the family can do is ask for the public's help. They want Lucero's story to reach people outside of San Antonio and to reach as many people as possible. Maybe someone in California or in Idaho or New York will hear about Lucero's case and, will somehow know something that could help solve it. You never know who this story might come across, so that's why it's so important to continue to share Lucero's story and help them get as much coverage as possible. The family says that the more people know about Lucero's story, the higher the chance it will reach the right person. The one person that can finally help solve the case.
I just know that there's somebody out there that knows something. They just don't know the pain they have inflicted on us by taking her like that.
From what I've read, the family has stayed in the same neighborhood all of these years because they hope that one day Lucero will return home. Juanita knows that her daughter didn't leave on her own. She would never do that. She had 2 beautiful boys at home and she had a 3rd child on the way. Why would she want to vanish, especially while 8 months pregnant? It doesn't make sense, and Juanita says that no one can convince her that her daughter willingly left to start a new life. She wouldn't start over without her kids and without her family. She would never put her family through this, and all she wants is to find some answers and to find closure. Juanita feels that somebody has her daughter. She can feel that she is still alive, and all she wants is for that person to release her daughter and let her be reunited with her family. She said, please open up your heart. Please let me know something. You can be anonymous. Just let me know where we can find my daughter so we can finally get some closure in our lives. Anytime Thanksgiving comes around, the family says that they feel just as heartbroken. Everyone is so excited to celebrate the holidays and be with their family on Thanksgiving and just be happy. However, to them, it's a constant reminder of what happened on Thanksgiving Day and a constant reminder that Lucero is still missing. Nothing has ever been the same since Lucero disappeared, and her family says that the holidays will never be the same again until Lucero is finally found. Honestly, Juanita and Amanda are so strong. They are constantly talking about Lucero's disappearance and doing whatever they can to help spread the word. They actually created a Facebook page called Prayers for Lucero, and on this page they post updates about her case, information about other missing people, and they also inform you of any fundraisers they are having or prayer services for Lucero. I highly encourage you to check out the page, give it a follow, and show the family lots of love and support. Lucero is a Hispanic female with blonde hair, light brown eyes, and had her hair in a ponytail at the time of her disappearance. She was 8 months pregnant unit and was last seen wearing a pink crew neck sweater, a brown leather jacket, blue low-rise jeans, and brown boots. If you know anything about what happened to Lucero, contact the San Antonio Police Missing Persons Unit at 210-207-7662, or you can directly email Juanita at trevinojuanita59@yahoo.com. All of that information will be linked down below. My thoughts and prayers go out to Lucero's family and to her 2 children. These 2 boys had to grow up without their mother and without finding out what happened to her or where she is. On top of that, she was 8 months pregnant at the time. So I wonder what happened to her baby. I wonder what happened to her. And all I want is for the family to have closure and finally have some justice. Juanita says, I have a lot of hope and a lot of faith in God that I will see my daughter again. Now I don't know when, but I know that I am going to see her again. Alright you guys, that is all the information I have for today's video. I wish there was more information that I could share with you guys, but there really isn't that much info on the case. There really isn't that much coverage, and hopefully with this video we can reach a lot of people and help spread Lucero's story. I would love to know what you guys think about this case down below. And again, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to Lucero's story. Make sure to go check out the Facebook page down below, and if there are ever any updates in her case, I will let you guys know by putting it in the pinned comment section down below. Thank you guys again for all the support, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!